Super Apple, Episode 1, Rainy Day. The white walls of the city hospital smelled faintly of medicine and hope. Apple's parents had been there for days, his mother recovering from surgery, his father by her side, their young son sitting by the window, playing with a small red toy car. It was a peaceful day, until the laughter started. A faint, echoing giggle drifted through the halls. Nurses stopped mid-step. One of them frowned, looking toward the corridor. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Then, something floated in, a balloon. It bounced gently along the hallway tiles, red and cheerful, like it belonged at a birthday party instead of a hospital. When a doctor reached down to grab it, boom. The explosion was sharp and sudden, shattering windows and lights. Panic erupted instantly. People screamed, alarms wailed, and more balloons began to appear, one after another, silently drifting from nowhere. And in the middle of it all stood a figure in a torn circus dress, her face painted white with a streak of smeared red lipstick. Her head tilted, eyes wide, smile twisted. She didn't speak. She just laughed, softly, like a child watching fireworks. Each balloon she touched grew brighter, glowing like a beating heart before bursting into fire. She walked slowly down the corridor, letting explosions follow behind her. Apple's father burst into the room, grabbing his son. "Stay with your mother," he shouted, rushing to block the door as debris rained down. Apple clung to his mother's arm. "Mom, what's happening?" Before she could answer, the wall exploded. A burning piece of metal tore through the room, and his father fell instantly. His mother screamed his name, but another balloon drifted in, this one floating right between her and Apple. A voice shouted from outside, "Everyone get out. I'll handle her." A hero smashed through the window, a tall man with a silver cape and glowing blue eyes. The explosion had caught the city's attention fast. He landed in the hall, facing the clown villain. "You. Step away from the patients." She tilted her head again, and released dozens of balloons all at once. They floated around her like a colorful storm. The hero charged forward, energy flaring, breaking through several explosions. He slammed her into the wall, but even as the smoke cleared, she was smiling, holding another balloon in her hand. He realized too late. Kaboom, a massive explosion shook the entire building, collapsing part of the hospital structure. Glass and smoke swallowed everything. The blast reached Apple's room, throwing him back and burying him under rubble. When he woke up hours later, everything was quiet, just the sound of distant sirens. The hero who had come to save them was gone. His parents were gone. Apple lay there, covered in dust and bruises, staring at the scorched remains of his toy car. Days later, in another hospital across the city, Apple lay in bed, his arm wrapped in bandages. Doctors said he was lucky to be alive. He didn't feel lucky. A woman walked into the room. Tall, black hair tied neatly behind her head, wearing a long coat and a small top hat. She smiled gently at him. "Hello, Apple," she said softly. "My name is Talia Anastasia. I'm here to take care of you." Apple blinked, confused. "Take care of me?" Talia nodded. "You've been through something terrible. You need someone to guide you. Someone who understands what it means to lose everything." She placed a hand on his shoulder, warm, comforting, almost motherly. "You can stay with me. I'll make sure nothing like this ever hurts you again." Apple hesitated, then slowly nodded. As Talia smiled and walked him out of the room, she looked back once, at the news report on the TV in the corner. It showed the remains of the hospital, smoke still rising into the sky. In the footage, the rescuers were pulling out the charred remains of the hero who had died trying to stop the villain. 6 years later, the sky outside was gray, heavy with clouds. Inside a wide, spotless training room beneath the Top Hat Agency's hidden base, the sound of fists hitting metal echoed. A brown-haired teen, taller now but still carrying the same determined spark in his eyes, wiped the sweat off his brow. Apple, 16, still nothing. He clenched his fists and stared at them, waiting for something, anything to happen. Nothing did. No light, no power, just silence. Across from him, Metal Girl stood calmly, arms crossed, her silver-toned skin gleaming faintly under the white lights. Her expression was patient, not cold, but not exactly warm either. "Metal Girl, you're groaning again." "Apple, because I've been training for months, and I still haven't awakened my power yet." He kicked the floor in frustration. "Everyone else probably has by my age, Metal Girl, you worry too much. It'll happen soon. Apple, yeah, but when is soon supposed to be? She gave a faint smile, or something close to it. Metal Girl, well, a hero has to be patient too. Just wait. Then you can be like us. Apple sighed, dropping his towel onto the bench. You keep saying that, but I've never even seen us. Can I meet the other members at least? Metal Girl, no, Apple, why not? Metal Girl, they're busy saving the city. He blinked, frowning. Then why aren't you saving the city? Metal Girl hesitated. The air in the room shifted slightly, the hum of the fluorescent lights filling the silence. She looked away. Because my task is to train you. Apple tilted his head. But I thought all of you were heroes. Before she could answer, the door opened. Talia Anastasia, Top Hat Girl, stepped in, elegant as always, her presence commanding immediate attention. She smiled softly. Top Hat Girl, Apple, that's enough for today. You're improving. Apple, but I still don't have any powers. She walked closer and rested a hand on his shoulder. Not all power is born from light or fire. Some of it comes from belief. You've done well to train this long without giving up. Apple looked up at her, uncertain. Do you really think I can be a hero, Miss Talia? Top Hat Girl, smiling warmly, of course. You'll be the greatest hero of them all. Apple smiled back, a little more hopeful. As he left the room, Metal Girl watched silently. The next day, the morning light leaked through the window blinds of Apple's room. The clock ticked quietly, the world still half asleep. Apple groaned and sat up, rubbing his eyes. Ugh, training again, he yawned and stumbled toward the bathroom sink. But when he looked into the mirror, he froze. His hair, which had always been brown, now shimmered a vivid red, the color of a ripe apple. And right at the top of his head, a small green stem had sprouted. Apple blinked. Then blinked again. What the heck? He touched the stem carefully. It didn't hurt, it was part of him. A nervous laugh slipped out. Okay, maybe I'm still dreaming. He slapped his cheek. It stung. Not a dream. Minutes later, he rushed into the agency's laboratory still wearing his pajamas. Miss Talia. Something weird happened. Top Hat Girl and Metal Girl turned toward him. Metal Girl tilted her head, eyes reflecting the light from Apple's new hair. Talia raised an eyebrow. So, it finally happened. Apple blinked. What did? She smiled faintly and gestured for him to step onto a circular platform lined with glowing lines, a power scanner. Let's find out. As Apple stood still, beams of light surrounded him. The machine hummed, and a holographic panel appeared beside Talia. She read it silently, her eyes narrowing slightly with intrigue. Then she looked at him, smiling with genuine pride. Congratulations, Apple. Apple tensed. Congratulations for what? Talia stepped closer. Your powers have awakened. She listed them calmly, one by one, each word heavier than the last. Super strength. Super endurance. Flight. And something unique, you can project apple seeds from your hands, with enough force to pierce steel. Apple's jaw dropped. Wait, apple seeds? That's my power? Metal Girl smiled faintly. Fitting. He held up his hand, staring at it, focusing, and suddenly pop, a single seed shot out, hitting the metal wall and leaving a small dent. His eyes widened. Okay, that's actually cool. Talia folded her arms, amused. You see? I told you it would come. You've done well, Apple. Better than I expected. He grinned proudly, his earlier frustration forgotten. So what happens now? Talia smiled, turning away. Now, we teach you what it means to be a hero. As she walked out of the room, Metal Girl glanced at the door after Talia left, then at Apple. He was still staring at his reflection in the scanner's mirror, red hair, green stem, eyes full of excitement. But he wasn't ready for what will come next. End of episode 1.